Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to explore the frontier of customer loyalty and engagement in our upcoming speaker session titled The Future of Loyalty and Engagement, How Emerging Tech is Reshaping the Landscape of Channel Engagement and Customer Loyalty. Delve into the innovative strategies and trends reshaping the way businesses interact with their customers in their digital age. Join us as our expert speaker, Sourabh Deorah, co-founder and CEO, Advantage Club, unveils the transformative impact of emerging technologies on the landscape of channel engagement and customer loyalty. Ladies and gentlemen, I request you to kindly settle down and continue the conversation outside so we can call our next speaker on stage. I'm sure you have a lot of questions for the panelists and would love to distribute your cards. May I please request you, as we would need to continue this session, to carry on the discussions outside, please? May I request you to kindly settle down and give a huge round of applause as we welcome on stage Sourabh Deorah, co-founder and CEO, Advantage Club.
Excuse me. Yeah, hello everyone. Myself Sourabh. I'm co-founder and CEO of Advantage Club. So in last 2 days, we have heard so much about compliance, where do different sectors go towards. But there's one element which stays consistent throughout the entire fintech or banking or for that matter, any product journey, that you need to have loyalty among your key stakeholders to really succeed as a business. So in next 15 minutes, we'll try to cover some aspects of how to build loyalty among your key stakeholders. So the first question is, who are these key stakeholders? Who can help you really drive your revenue? The first is, of course, your own sales employees. They are paramount. They are the people who are representing you in front of your clients, and their motivation is directly proportional to your revenue. So it's very important for you to create programs which can help enhance that. The second important category of people would be your channel partners, distributor partners, or agents, depending on what is your selling methodology. Ultimately, it's very important to create an engaging methodology for them as well, so that they also prioritize your product, especially in a world when you have so many options or so many solutions for every problem which is out there, and there's very little differentiation maybe across bank or even NBFCs or insurance providers. It's very important that you have right channel partners and they're also motivated to deliver your product in the hands of the customer. And the third and the most paramount is, of course, customers. The brand affinity with customer is, of course, non-parallel. And again, in today's world, it's one of the hardest jobs to have a loyal customer. But a right loyalty program can skew the data at least towards you. So how do you build loyalty? Like, what does it take to really build any sort of loyalty among all these stakeholders? Of course, the first thing is to have a good product. That is given. But any product or solution, especially in a country like India, is usually replicated by, if not 20, but at least 10 people who are doing exactly the same thing that you are doing, is exactly offering the same thing that you are offering. So in that world, it becomes very important to give personalized experiences to your consumer, your channel partners, as well as your sales employees, so that they stay with you and they are also long-term with you. The second important aspect is to have meaningful communications and also a consistent brand messaging throughout the entire journey of the customer. And this needs to come through every touch point, whether, say, your CEO is speaking on the stage, someone is there on TV, or what is the output of your product or a brochure. It needs to be consistent, meaningful for everyone. The third, you have to incentivize to really succeed when you are dealing with your sales employees or your channel partner, but even when working with customers, it's important to create rewarding programs so that the loyalty is rewarded. So let's discuss first, why do sales employees really need a good incentive program? So first is the most obvious one, to get higher performance out of them. At Advantage Club, whenever we're hiring, to all my hiring manager, I always tell them that we should not hire people whose primary objective is money or more salary. But there's only one department where our statement is exactly opposite, that when you're hiring for sales, you should look for people who are driven by money and who want to earn more. Because any good organization should not have any ceiling to the amount of reward that any sales employee can get if they're able to generate more revenue for you. The second is to align goals with what the organization has. The third is the engagement. Sales, in my view, is one of the hardest jobs. No matter how good the product or solution is, getting someone to buy and pay money for the solution is definitely the hardest job. And from what I've spoken to the sales employees, a lot of them do it for the thrill of it, the thrill for the wins, but they also expect a reward whenever a successful sale is made. Yeah. So in terms of the goals, of course, most of the organization do run broad goals in which the contest or incentives are linked to the broader number that an employee can generate, whether it is a revenue number or number of sales. But the other interesting aspect that a lot of companies also do is micro-targeting. That means that rewarding people on the funnel, like maybe on certain number of leads that they're able to generate, certain number of demos, but beyond that, even on the micro goals that you can have as a company. Let's take example, say you are an insurance provider, and you have to collect premium for every renewal. Now, if you incentivize your salespeople to drive more redemption via UPI payments instead of a credit card, you would end up saving 1 to 2%, and that will entirely go and benefit your bottom line. So in this setup, you can create a contest which kind of creates a higher percentage of renewal via UPI. Moving on to the second set of users, which is your channel partners, why they need to be incentivized. Again, if you look at channel partners, there are hardly any channel partners in the market who only work with one brand. They would typically be working with multiple brands. So it's very important for you to get a higher share of their business or their focus. And for doing that, you have to make it rewarding for them. So suppose someone is selling 30% of product A, 30% of product B, and earning X amount. If you are a product A and if you want 60% share, then effectively it should be more rewarding for them to push your product in the hands of the consumer or make it on top in terms of visibility. And these differentiation cannot be necessarily in form of money. You can create maybe gold partners, platinum partners, give them exceptional service. Maybe if you're a lending company, you can evaluate their loan applications faster than everyone else. So there are other ways of creating differentiations beyond money as well. So it's important to incentivize channel partners in the right way. And ultimately, every channel partner also have their own set of employees. So the better program you create, it will empower them to create better channel or sales incentive for their own people, which will of course result in a better outcome for you. So when you're creating a channel program, it's very important to create a timely incentive plan. You need to align it to, say, monthly goals or quarterly goals, and not only push for very long-term goals. The reward should also be linked to very short-term outputs as well as long-term output. So it's very important that people gain some money or some kind of reward immediately in the process whenever they align with you. But there should be 3-month, 6-month, 9-month goals which are very highly rewarding, which can skew their behavior more towards you. Then incentives should be personalized. Again, as I said, it doesn't need to be only about money. It can also be some of the big goals that you give to them. Say, maybe you are giving them some sort of trip. But it's also important to give flexibility there. Like suppose you're giving them foreign trip on achieving certain number of quota, but empower them to select where they want to go. And the last is to also build community among your distributors. This can be very, very rewarding for any brand because when these guys engage with each other, not only they will learn the product better, but they can also exchange good strategies with each other. And you can also make some of your top distributors as your leading master agents and create sub-agent models and create new 8 people under them. Now, moving on to the third leg of the discussion, which is your customers. Of course, loyalty or brand affinity requirement for customer is something that I don't think anyone needs to explain. But just broadly, in today's world, even for continuity, you need to give the right experience. People are switching bank accounts, forget everything else. In today's world, literally at the drop of a hat. That's why we see all these schemes of 3% return, 6% return, really changing the numbers. So it's very important that for continuity, you're able to build brand loyalty and also become the preferred choice for them whenever they are talking about any brand. And typically, any consumer would be using 4 to 5 different products for every problem. So it's all about how much time you can get out of their entire world. So again, when you're incentivizing customer, in today's world, it's very important to gratify them instantly because the new generation that we have doesn't really have the patience. But at the same time, you can also do long-term goals. Like fintech can also take maybe some inspiration from hospitality industry, like we're in a Marriott hotel today. So Marriott runs a fantastic program of Marriott Bonvoy. And if you really book hotel rooms directly, they will give you a lot of free upgrades. And then there are milestones when you get to say 10 rooms and you'll get a free night or a good fancy dinner. So that can be borrowed in fintech world as well, that on certain big milestones, you can reward them handsomely, beyond money as well, and times including money. And then third important part is to encourage positive behavior, whether that means transacting with you in certain amount of time or maybe creating a social post for you. Because when a user is creating a social post for you, not only they're spreading the word for you for free, they're also kind of declaring their affinity with your brand. And the fourth is the feedback loop. While you're engaging with the consumers, a loyalty program should help you get feedback generally as well. And we are not only talking about direct feedback, but also about indirect feedback. So suppose you have 10 products and you are seeing higher repeat rates in 2 of your 10 products, then those 2 are your hero products. So in future, whenever you're designing more products or doing brand campaigns, it's important to keep those 2 in the center. So when you're creating a framework for an incentive program, it's important to consider following things. First, you should align goal to what is your objective as an organization. And there should be 100% clarity on what is being offered to every stakeholder. There should not be any ambiguity in understanding what those goals are. The second important aspect is personalization and flexibility. Like even when you are, say, setting goals for your channel partners and you have certain ratios, say you sell 50% in West, 30% in North, when you are designing those targets, it needs to reflect that. And at the same time, it's very important to give flexibility to the end party to choose what all programs they want to take part in. Because not everyone will be able to deliver on every micro goal that you have, but it doesn't mean they should not be rewarded for not doing other parts. And third, it's very important to have performance tracking and transparency for the entire organization, not only for the people who are participating in it, but also for your in-house representatives, that how every distributor or every salesperson is doing, maybe their manager or the distribution manager should know what's going on at any given point. And there should be a regular two-way feedback and communication throughout the process. And last, of course, once you have ran a program, it's very important to evaluate whether it gave you the outcome that you're looking for or not. And in case it did not, then please adopt, please change it. And anyways, we are living in a world where everything is changing every 6 months, whether we're talking about the compliance side of things or we also saw COVID. So it's very important to stay on your feet and keep on be very agile around it. So now let's move on to what is the power of digitizing everything that we have discussed. So a lot of people in the room would already be running some parts of whatever we covered, but most of it is happening offline in our view right now. And a lot of it means doing manual calculation. And the problem with manual calculation, like I know of banks who have 100, 140 people teams whose job is to constantly keep on calculating different parameters and give incentives, rewards accordingly. Now, the challenge is that if you're doing it manually, you will not be able to do it on a timely manner. And if you are giving incentives 6 months after the time when actually it was due, then you are not really impacting performance on an immediate basis. The third biggest problem when you're doing things manually is that there's no visibility on progress. Even if you go to a channel partner or a sales employee and ask them where they are in terms of the goal, most of the time they will be clueless, especially if it's a multiple goal kind of a model. Or even if they believe they would know, that would be far from reality. And if you're giving visibility on progress, then a good platform can also help you add smart nudges. So suppose I'm a sales employee, on 15th day I'm at 45% of my target. If I continue at the same rate, I'll probably end up at 90%. But if I'm told that I just need to do 10% more to get this extra reward or hit this extra milestone, I'll probably go all out and reach out to my late pipeline folks more aggressively, and that can be game changer for your business unit outcomes. Then you should be able to build social platforms, social competition, so that the people who are high performers are recognized on the platform. They can see that they are winning, and other people can get inspired to get there. And of course, on the redemption side, digitization will enable you to give flexibility and take that entire work out of your hand to the partner that you're working with. And the last and the most important part is, of course, create dynamic schemes. When you're doing these loyalty programs offline, then your hands are tied and you can do very simple programs. But the moment you digitize, the entire world opens up and you can create very complicated programs as well, because it's very easy for people to browse through that, and you can also target it better. So on this note, I'll end by saying that for any business to grow exponentially, the loyalty of key stakeholders is paramount, and the onus completely lies with the organization to drive that. I'm personally very passionate about this space, and we also have a booth here, Advantage Club. I'm happy to chat if anyone of you want to discuss anything about it. No strings attached. We're happy to partner in any ways. Thank you, everyone, and thank you for the Bharat team for having me here. Thank you.